at the last minute. You know, I had 10 days notice. He was already over here, he'd been over here quite a while, so he was in shape training, and they jumped at the chance to take the fight. And it was a totally different style to what we'd been training for. So it was a dangerous fight, and there's people behind the scenes in boxing that was predicting an upset here. You know, people other trainers who'd been seeing him, and I just went in there and I did what I had to do, and I said you was going to see the best of Scott Quigg that people had seen, because I know how, since the last fight, what I've been doing, what I've been practicing, training, where I've been, and nothing less than what I'd put out today would have been good enough.
Was that the best of Scott Quigg that we saw there tonight?
That's the best Scott Quigg that is available at this time. So I'm going to get better, improve, but I knew that people were going to see something that they'd not seen before from me. And I think, like I said, I had to, the fans that was come out today, they wanted exciting nights, and not just to go and see a 12 rounds points win or just an average fight. They wanted the excitement, and I had to deliver, and I think I did.
Scott, it was a beautiful 1-2. When did you see that sort of finish coming?
I didn't see it. It just happened, and I think that's what made it. Like the first shot that I put him down with, it was just a reaction shot, and they're the ones that, you know, do the damage, and he did well to get up off that. And then the right hand that I put him down with in the second round, I don't know how he got from that, and then I finished him off with a barrage of punches. But like I say, it's all the hard work and everything, the dedication and focus that I put in, why I put in a performance like that.
Scott, you seemed quite surprised that the first shot you put him down with had such a big effect on him. Did you feel it was that good a punch?
Yeah, I knew I'd connected, right? But it was just a reaction, so I didn't load up, it was just boom, and that's why I was surprised. Because listen, no one's ever done that to MUNYAI. He's durable, tough, and like I said, people was expecting him to come and cause me a lot of problems. So to put him on his pants in the first round, it did shock me a bit, but then, like I said, he did well to go up from that.
What do you think some of the other elite super bantamweights will think when they see that performance?
What everyone else in people, you know, put on I destroyed him really. So whatever they're going to be worried now. You know, I always knew I carried one punch knockout power, and it was just about the timing, and like I said, I delivered tonight.
Who would you like next?
I want them big fights. I want to unify the division. You know, you've got Leo Santa Cruz, Kiko Martinez, and obviously you're all going to be asking about Carl Frampton. They're the fights I want.
Eddie, when MUNYAI obviously was announced 9 days ago, but it was on notice before then.
Yeah, he's been over here training. He was sparring Martin Ward before the Stuart Hall fight. Sparred with him throughout the whole camp. So he's been training, I don't know, 4, 5, 6 weeks for the fight, and he was fit. So it was a bit of a blessing, to be honest with you, because Semeno had some issues which he was not cooperative with at all in Panama, and we were struggling. And we looked at the options, and the options were Vasquez, who was number 15, who was ranked miles away, even like on box rec. We knew we were going to get loads of stick for. Jonathan Arenas, who I think was number 7, but he was 15 and 1, never fought anyone. And MUNYAI. And as a promoter, MUNYAI was the best for me because 1, he was the most credible, and 2, more importantly, he was here. So when I spoke to Joe Gallagher and Scott, you know, they all appreciated MUNYAI was of the picks available, much tougher. But you know, credit to them, they took him, and you know, I think people who don't really know boxing will think, oh, who's this opponent? But anyone who does knows if we're honest, the Diego Silva fight on the Froch Groves card was a gimme for Scott Quigg. And I don't mean that disrespectfully, no, but it wasn't the toughest opponent. It was a defence, what, 5 weeks after he just beat Salinas, in my opinion. And so that was half a gimme. That wasn't a gimme tonight. That was a proper credible opponent. And when MUNYAI came out in the second round, he looked dangerous. You know, he had the shoulder roll. He hit Scott with a couple of shots, and I thought this is going to develop. but his power is just unbelievable. And people don't realise he's only a baby. You know, he's still so young. And it's so exciting what he can do. And you know, you saw we're going to build something here. I want to go. And I haven't told him in the build-up to this, but I've been planning an outdoor show in Bury, you know, towards the end of the summer, and that's what I really would like to do. And obviously with Anthony winning as well, you know, that might come back here because we've got something special in Manchester now with a lot of top fighters. And you know, Scott's one of only 3 world champions in Britain. I think he's a fantastic fighter. And the plan now is, you know, he's won the world title. The fight with Salinas, he had a fairly easy defence against Silva. That was a proper fight tonight. He destroyed MUNYAI. He's ready. There's no one else in the division ranked 2, 3, 4, 5 in any governing body that even can be credible enough. So we need Martinez, we need Santa Cruz, and Carl Frampton, of course, is the one everyone wants.
When was MUNYAI first sort of sounded out though?
2 weeks ago, 2.5 weeks ago.
It must have been done a sort of check weight.
Yeah. 2.5 weeks. He did a check weight. He did a check weight on Wednesday, and he was fine, £3 over or something like that. So he complied with all the. Yeah, he was 5 ounces over yesterday. So, but you know, he had plenty of notice. He's been fit. We gave him the heads up. I think he was supposed to fly home 2.5 weeks ago, and we asked him to stay just in case. So he was, you know, Johnny Roy and those boys, they fancied a little upset tonight. Don't worry about that. So.
Do you think you can get to Santa Cruz before Frampton?
Well, you know, I think Barry McGuigan's talking about making him a big offer. He's talking about a guy who boxes on Showtime in America for huge purses. The idea of $500,000 to come to Belfast is probably the most unattractive offer he's ever had in his life. So, and at the end of the day, Frampton is a top quality fighter. Why on earth, when you're not even due a mandatory, would you want to fight Carl Frampton if you're Leo Santa Cruz? Especially in Belfast. And if you're Carl Frampton, why on earth would you want to go to Mexico or somewhere in the Hispanic region of America and fight Carl Frampton, if you're Carl Frampton, and fight Leo Santa Cruz for $100,000, $200,000 when you can challenge for a world title here for treble that? So at the end of the day, and again, I'm not sitting here saying they don't want to fight. Of course they want to fight, but it's just the general politics back and forth. I spoke to the McGuigans on Wednesday, you know, and they said, "Oh, you say you have offered, you know, you've tried to make the fight." That's not true. I said, "Look, I've made you an offer. I've increased my offer. We were supposed to meet. We didn't meet for some reason, but they expect me to chase them like he's the world champion. Scott Quigg's the world champion." Then Frampton says, "Oh, they want options." We don't want options. You know, we'll have a rematch clause. Thank you very much. You're a voluntary challenger, and by the way, I should take 3 or 5 options on you, but I won't because we believe we win the fight anyway. But it's not rocket science. These guys are in this sport for a short period of time. It's my job to deliver the biggest fights possible and the biggest money possible. And the answer to that is Carl Frampton, for both men. So Carl Frampton can't have a big payday for fighting Santa Cruz in Belfast or in America. But he can for fighting Scott Quigg. But again, we're not going to sit around waiting for, you know, he's just a challenger. We're world champion. So we'll chase Leo Santa Cruz. I spoke to Golden Boy this week. We'll start our conversations again next week. But again, in answer to why would you fight Carl Frampton if you're Santa Cruz? Why would you fight Scott Quigg? There's the answer. Unify the division.
Why would Santa Cruz fight Scott Quigg?
Sorry?
Why would Santa Cruz?
Because he's got a belt. It's a chance for him to unify the division.
Do you think he'd get him over here?
I think we've got as much chance as Carl Frampton. I mean, you know, at the end of the day, Scott's got no problem boxing over in America if there's a big fight with Santa Cruz to unify the division. I think long term his plan probably is to move over and box more in America anyway. But Santa Cruz is a top level fighter, and these boys, you know, we see it with Kell Brook, we see it with Tony Bellew, Adonis Stevenson, we see it with Barker again. You can't just bring them over for a couple of $100 grand. It don't work like that. So the answer is you have to find a huge pot of money, or you have to have something that attracts them to the fight. And another world title belt might just do that. It's unlikely to bring Santa Cruz here, but we'll give it a go. It's more likely to bring Martinez here.
Martinez watching on Wednesday.
Correct.
So have you spoken to him?
Yeah, I speak to them all the time, man. Yeah. You know, but the answer is that's a tough fight against Hasegawa. If Hasegawa wins, he ain't coming out of Japan. So you're in a really difficult situation. And the answer still comes back to the same question. If we don't get the Santa Cruz fight, if Hasegawa wins and Carl Frampton doesn't get the Santa Cruz fight, what's going to happen? In the end, we've just got to get together and say, fucking hell, stop messing around, let's just make it.
What's the situation on the WBA regular and super?
Nothing. Rigondo is the super champion. Scott Quigg's the world champion, and forget regular, forget super. Scott Quigg is a WBA world champion.
At some point, have they got to fight each other?
I don't think there's a specific rule. We all know how good Rigondeaux is. I don't think Scott Quigg is afraid to fight Rigondeaux. But again, Rigondeaux, I don't mean disrespectfully, people may laugh, but I'm just telling you because it's the basic truth of the commercial situation. There's no money in the Rigondeaux fight. No one's interested in America. No one's heard of him over here outside of the hardcore boxing fans, and he's a fucking brilliant fighter, excuse my French. So what's the point? You know, I mean, you've got to be clever at the same time, and you know, Scott would fight anyone at any time, but I'm looking at the fight, I'm looking at the money, I'm looking at what's on the line, and the answer is, of course, unified division. Martinez, in an ideal world, is perfect. Commercially, financially able to bring him over here, in my opinion. IBF title on the line, WBA title on the line. He's Frampton free, if you like, so they're not, you know, pursuing a shot with him. And it's a chance for Kiko Martinez to unify a division. When was Kiko Martinez ever going to get a shot to unify a division? That's realistic. Santa Cruz is difficult for both Scott and for Carl. But I believe we've got much more chance because we've got a belt.
Have you got a date for Derry?
No.
Presumably football stadium.
Yeah.
You said in the past that Carl Frampton has an exclusive contract, so he has to fight on Box Nation. So at that time,
I don't know his contract. In my opinion, I believe, and you know, you might know as much as me, when they did the announcement, I think it was a 3-fight deal or something like that. So he may be contractually tied to Box Nation. I don't know. I presume that. In which case, we got no chance till the fight after. But again, you know, it's. I think ultimately, eventually, we'll get it done. But we're not sitting around waiting for Carl Frampton. He's got a world championship belt. He's got a great reception for the crowd. I'm happy with the ticket sales. So we move on. We get bigger, we get bigger, we get bigger. And Scott Quigg gets better and better and better.